Before superannuation, he stayed a large team responsible for acquisitions and procurements, contributing to the operational and logistics capability building of the Indian Army. He is a combat paratrooper and served in varied staff and operational environments both within the country and abroad, including United Nations peacekeeping mission. He has held the DRDO chair at DRDO HQs from 2021 to 2025. Sir, over to you.
जून में भी देश ने कुछ ऐसी उपलब्धियां हासिल की हैं जो हर देशवासी को गर्व से भर देती हैं। ये सफलताएं देश की सुरक्षा और आत्मनिर्भरता से जुड़ी हैं। हाल ही में मुझे कोलकाता में नौसेना से जुड़े एक कार्यक्रम में शामिल होने का अवसर मिला। वहां आईएनएस दुनागिरी, आईएनएस संशोधक और आईएनएस अग्रय को भारतीय नौसेना के बेड़े में शामिल किया गया। इन शिप्स की डिजाइन और मैन्युफैक्चरिंग तक सब कुछ स्वदेशी है। साथ
Before I say something else, you just heard our Honorable Prime Minister so proudly saying that we are on the path of Atmanirbharta in the defense and as a country. And I think another salute which is due and which has come just last week when a private company has launched the satellite. So I think India's defense sector has entered its golden era is something which is visible now. And I think all of you sitting out here, the private industry, the Indian defense industry at large, deserve a big applause that whatever we are achieving today is the contribution of all of you out here. So I think even though you've had a good lunch, you can still give a good applause to the private sector and the Indian defense sector having taken us on this path. Now before I move further, ladies and gentlemen, some of you who do not know me, I have been a regular at Elsina for as many years as they are, and I know all the veterans and seniors. I have been regular with General Chandele, and today, this afternoon, I am speaking to you on a very, very important issue. While I'll be speaking on certain vital, important issues tomorrow also, like the supply chain management impacting the Indian defense industry or Indian private industry, but also certain important issues that when India has entered the golden era, especially so in the private industry, especially so in the defense industry, what else needs to be done? In the morning sessions, and in fact you've been hearing that the country's growth as far as the policies is concerned, as far as the fundings, schemes, etc., all are concerned, they are on an upswing only to make sure that India becomes Atmanirbhar. The private sector plays a role which is actually what we look at foreign companies coming and playing a role. We can also play a role not only in the country but also abroad. What I mean to say, become global exporters. So you all know what are the forces which are driving India's defense build-up. The visual indicators are Make in India policy, emergence of private players, rising defense exports, defense industrial corridors, and strategic partnerships. When I stand out here today in front of you as electronics industry, in fact, initially some of the veterans sitting out here would remember that we never used to talk much about defense in the Elsina. But subsequently we realized that strategic electronics has a major role to play in the defense arena also. And in the last 5 to 10 years, the journey which has been where the dual technology or the application of all these initiatives are equally applicable, whether it is the civil sector or whether it is the military defense sector. And today, if I can quote the latest figures of the METI, I think 13.11 lakh crores is the electronics production, and the electronics exports stand to 4.24 lakh crores. And very proud to also quote from that METI report of 15 July that 25 lakh jobs have been created in this sector. So this is a growing sector, there is no doubt about it. Figures, statistics will speak for themselves. I don't have to reiterate that our defense production, our exports, our indigenous production are going up in an exponential manner. India's defense sector, therefore, offers one of the best long-term growth opportunities today, not only in India, in the world. The next 10 years budget allocation, what is estimated in India, again has an exponential curve upwards. Now the issue is that many of us are out here, many of us share the success which all the suppliers, all the manufacturers have come in, but there is scope for much, much, much more. Now, if you have to be a success story in this, the companies that carve out large share of these opportunities will be the ones that are advised and well planned. Now, is your company one of that? What is the main issue when you look into the defense sector? One is the financial, the capital which you have to invest. Second is the technology. Where do you get the technology from? Where do you get the capital from? Beneath the substrate. So now this is what appears to be on the top. The technology, the money, the capital, and of course the policies, procedures. But the substrate or the building block of a good successful model would be the legal framework which will be guiding these companies. As you know, in any sector, there are structural barriers which stand between companies and growth. Some of these structural barriers you are well aware. Geopolitical and sanctions exposure, which is playing a major role these days. Can you get the Strait of Hormuz is closed? Your entire supply chain gets disrupted. How do you handle it? Procurement delays and contracts, cyber data, supply chain. So there are a number of structural barriers. And the complexity that makes specialized intervention, where people who have knowledge, who have dirtied their hands, who know how the whole system works, so that your business model becomes such that you have a technology, you have the capital, but at the end of it, your framework or your complete contract, your complete business model is without any flaws. It is not vulnerable to any contingency as the contract starts flowing. So the sectoral complexities are there. In the defense, there are some more peculiar. Slow, multi-layer approvals, sensitive to national priorities, so many, although of these are there on the slides. The supply chain and geopolitical risk, I have already mentioned about it. Inter-country collaboration, there will be joint ventures, there will be collaborations, and while some of the conglomerates may be having the complete picture, but like I think one of the speakers in the earlier session had said, that it is not the entire platform you're looking at. You're looking at each and every component. So even if one vital component is not there, your platform is rendered useless. So there it comes, inter-country collaboration, that for one component you may be dependent on some country. How do you safeguard against your IPRs? How do you safeguard against your TOTs? So a model which SKS possesses as the right credentials to partner with defense companies is having the right competencies at the right place at the right time. It's a full-service Indian law firm with a balance of advisory mix, cross-sector depth, multi-city presence, and it is not only confined to defense, looking at space, looking at nuclear. Shanti Bill has come. There's going to be scope of expansion as far as the business is concerned. Who will advise them? So the expertise lies out here. There is a whole lot of skilled manpower over who have the knowledge, not only of the policies, procedures, but also of the legal framework. So this afternoon, the third session, we and the entire team will be giving you a presentation that SKS can protect you not merely as a legal advisor, but a trusted techno-legal integrator. Not only as an intermediary, but as a catalyst. So supporting defense manufacturing, foreign collaboration, exports, technology transfer, strategic investments, the entire thing comes to you under one umbrella, giving you an end-to-end defense advisory across multifarious service lines. We will be talking about each in detail in a session from, I think, 3:45. So a timely responsive engagement model we can frame for each and every supplier, manufacturer, depending on his need, his target, his niche competence, and what does he look at it. So we can assure you an audit-proof, indigenization compliant, export ready, so that while you look at the technology, you look at the capital, focus there. Rest will be taken care of, so that even once the contract, even once everything has been done up, as the contract flows, there is nothing which you will feel that you are short of. There are many, many complications, whether it is a DAP, whether it is a standard contract document, whether it is joint ventures, whether it is mergers and acquisition, whether it is a TOT, whether it is IPR. So there is a plethora of, and in fact I used to joke around, like while I was in chair, I invoked one of the clauses, force majeure, which in fact is less understood, but at that point of time, even interpreting and making attributability of COVID as a force majeure had its own legal complications. Today, if Strait of Hormuz is closed, can we say that I cannot control it, is beyond my hands? No. But the supplier or the manufacturer will definitely say, these are conditions beyond my control. But I would say, no, these are not beyond your control. You chose the route. I did not tell you to come through that. You gave me the money estimate that I have planned this route and I'll be delivering. And that is why, because I'm charging this much, that is up to you. So, what I'm trying to say is, when you work into a defense contract, you got to look at the whole landscape. So, ladies and gentlemen, I stand here today in this capacity. Later, we'll be doing a presentation. And of course, tomorrow, again, I am available to Elsina in the normal role which I play every year, a moderator for the supply chain resilience of Indian private industries. So I'll end out here, and what I will say is that SKS protects you not merely as a legal advisor, but as a trusted techno-legal integrator. And we work with SKS, we provide one primary assurance, peace of mind, and successful conclusion of contract. So thank you very much, and heartiest congratulations to each one of you who is contributing in the Indian defense story, and which is, let me tell you, I always say, it is beginning of a decade. When I said this in 2020 when I was in service, that decade is already half gone. Now I think it is the beginning of next 2 to 3 decades what we are seeing. Thank you, and Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. May I now request Mr. N. Ramachandran, Mel Systems Executive Chairman, the past president of Elsina, to please join us on the stage. Let's give him a warm round of applause, everybody together. May I request Lieutenant General Sanjay Verma, sir, to please join us on the stage. May I now request Mr. N. Ramachandran to kindly present Momentum as a token of gratitude and appreciation.